You've been told all of your life that hard work is the key to success. Grind harder, wake up earlier, stay up later. But here's the truth. Hustle without wisdom just makes you tired. It's like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're moving, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Today, I'm going to show you why wisdom multiplies your hustle and how one small shift in strategy can do more than decades of effort. This could be the mindset change that unlocks everything that you've been working for. Stay with me on today's show.
Welcome to the Dave Martin Podcast.
Hello, I'm Dr. Dave Martin, your success coach. Thank you for joining me today on the Dave Martin Podcast. I've got something that I'm going to share with you over the next few weeks. I hope you enjoyed our last series talking about connecting the dots. We spent about 12 weeks talking about networking, the power of networking, your relationships, those connections that form a beautiful picture for the future. If you missed those, go back, check it out on YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, whatever, wherever you look at it, iTunes, but make sure you watch those powerful, powerful teachings. I want to jump into something new for the next few weeks that I think is one of the most powerful understandings I think that we could ever have, that really is the difference between where we are and where we want to be. It's something that will make our tomorrows different, better than our todays. It's the wisdom factor. The wisdom factor, how wisdom makes the difference. That's what we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. So make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. Let someone else know about this. I think we're going to give them some powerful keys that will unlock, well, wisdom is the master key. Could you imagine being on a game show and they said, hey, there's 4 doors to choose from, and you're one of the contestants. There's a couple more. Door number 1, better relationships. Door number 2, influence. Door number 3, career success. Door number 4, wisdom. You say, hey, I'll take door number 1. The next contestant says, I'll take door number 3. And then the last contestant says, give me door number 4. He picks wisdom. When he says door number 4, the lights go off, flashing everywhere, confetti's falling, and music starts. They said, because you picked wisdom, you win it all. You get everything. Well, wisdom is the key. Solomon, God said, anything you want, you can have it. Solomon said, God, just give me wisdom. And wisdom became the master key that opened up the door to everything else that he needed. That's what we're going to be talking about. So today, I want to jump into this, and I want to challenge you with a phrase that you probably heard a lot of your life. That's hard work always pays off. You ever heard that? I'm a hard worker. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in working hard. I believe in giving your best. But here's the truth. Most people never realize hard work without wisdom, well, it's just going to make you tired. It's not going to make a difference. Hustle without wisdom will just wear you out, but it won't take you forward. It's not hustle alone that builds success, but it's wisdom that multiplies the hustle. Now, we're in a culture now, we got that grind. We glorify the grind. Come on. People brag about how early they wake up, how late they stay. I mean, how many hours. I'm crushing it. We've been crushing it for 20 hours today. The grind has become a new badge of honor. But if hustle was the answer, well, then the hardest working people, the people that put in the most hours, the most hustle, they would be the most successful, the most fulfilled, the most at peace. Yet I met people that put in 12-hour days, and put in 12-hour days for decades, and they're still broke. They're still frustrated. They're still stuck in the same place. Why? Why? Because hustle alone doesn't guarantee progress. But wisdom gives your work direction. Wisdom, the Bible says, is the principal thing. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine there's 2 farmers. Okay, they both have the same amount of seed. They both wake up at the same time, work the same amount of hours, the same amount of land. One throws all of his seed on rocky ground, and one throws all of his seed in good, fertile soil. Who worked harder? Well, it doesn't really matter. Who got the harvest? The one that planted with wisdom, the one that put their seed in the right place. The same energy, right? Same energy they put in, but very different results. That's the difference that wisdom makes. Think about Apple. Apple, in the early 2000s, every tech company was hustling. I mean, they wanted to build the powerful computers. They were racing to outdo each other with speed and the specs. But Steve Jobs with Apple took a different approach. He asked a wisdom question. He said, what do people really want? Well, the answer wasn't more power. It was simplicity. The answer was beauty, seamless experience. And that's how the iPod came, and then the iPhone, and then the iPad was born. I have one right here. Not through more hustle, but through smarter hustle. And today, Apple isn't just a company, it's a culture. Are you an Apple user? If you're not in the culture. You're an Android user. Well, we're sorry about that. But wisdom multiplies effort in ways that hustle never could. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7, which says, wisdom is the principal thing. And whatever you do, get wisdom. With all you're getting, we're all out there hustling, we're getting. So with all that you're getting, get some understanding. It doesn't say hustle is the principal thing. It says wisdom. It doesn't say stress. It doesn't say sleepless nights. It doesn't say countless busyness or constant busyness. It says wisdom. And Solomon, the man who wrote it, the wisest man who ever lived, he didn't become the wealthiest king of his generation because he outworked everybody else. It was because he said, God, can I have some wisdom? Can I have some wisdom? And he became great because I guess you could say he kind of outwised everybody else. Listen, write this down. Hustle can open doors, but wisdom tells you which door to go through. Now, let's be real. Hustle does feel productive. Tell you what, when I put in a long day, I feel like I'm productive. It feels like progress, right? I'm moving, I'm busy, I'm sweating, I'm pushing. But activity doesn't always equal advancement. I mean, you can be moving fast and still go in circles. Doesn't matter how much faster you run. If you're running toward the wrong goalpost, it's not going to count. And a lot of people run, but they're going the wrong direction. You ever watched a hamster on a hamster wheel? I mean, they're running fast, but they're just going in circles. You can be burning energy and not gaining ground. Wisdom doesn't just get you moving. Wisdom makes sure that you're moving in the right direction. So let me ask you, are you hustling wisely? Are you moving in the right direction, or just are you hustling endlessly, always hustling but never getting ahead? I mean, think about your business. Think about your relationships. Think about your finances. I know people that have been in the same place year after year after year, and their finances never change. Well, where have you been working harder and harder but not seeing better results? Think about that. I keep working harder and harder on this, but I'm getting the same results. That's a signal that maybe you don't need more hustle. Maybe you need more wisdom. Maybe you need more financial wisdom. One of the best decisions that I've ever learned, or lessons that I've ever learned, is what I call the wisdom test. So if you're taking notes, you might want to write this down, the wisdom test. Before I pour myself into something, before I give it all my energy, I stop and ask 3 questions. Number 1, is this the right time? Is this the right time for this? Number 2, is this the right place? Is it the right time? Is it the right place? And number 3, is this the right way? Now, if the answer isn't yes to all 3 of those, then it doesn't matter how much I hustle. It's not going to produce lasting results, because what wisdom does, wisdom protects you from wasting energy. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Tom Brady, right? Isn't the fastest. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't even the most athletic quarterback. Yet he's the greatest of all time, they call him, the GOAT, because he mastered the mental game. He studied film obsessively. He learned the defense. He anticipates the plays. Wisdom wisdom. And that's what he turned consistent effort into what, 7 Super Bowl rings he has now. Hard work makes you sweat. Wisdom makes you win. Hard work makes you sweat. Wisdom makes you win. I remember years ago, I was starting out in ministry, and I thought the key was just to outwork everybody else. I preached anywhere and everywhere, and I said yes to everything, and I'll never forget a mentor pulling me aside and saying, Dave, activity is not the same as productivity. Activity is not the same. You're working hard, and you're working scattered. There's no focus. Wisdom makes you effective. That one piece of wisdom that this gentleman shared with me changed my entire approach of how I did things. I learned that hustle can open doors, but only wisdom can keep you in the room. That's why you see people, they'll just rise to the top, and then all of a sudden they're everywhere, and then you don't ever see them again. Right? Hustle got them in the door, but wisdom, they didn't have the wisdom to keep them there. The Bible gives us another great picture of that in Luke chapter 5. Peter and the guys are out fishing all night. They've worked hard. They've hustled. They gave everything they had, and they didn't catch anything. They cleaned everything up. They're heading back. Then Jesus shows up and says, hey, guys, why don't you throw your net on the other side? I'm sure they had to be thinking, Jesus, look, you stick to miracles, we'll do the fishing. We're professionals. We've been doing this a long time. But a little bit of wisdom from Jesus, one simple word of wisdom, produced more in a moment than all their hours of hustle had produced all night. They've been fishing and pulling in the nets and doing all that. Then all of a sudden, Jesus said, why don't you drop your net on the other side? Little wisdom gave them a little direction. Not just hustle, but some direction. Dropped their nets on the other side, pulled them up. What happened? It said the nets were so full. The nets were breaking. The boats were sinking. They had to call over some of their friends to take some of the blessing. How would you like some net breaking, boats sinking increase in your life? Get wisdom. That's what wisdom does. It multiplies your effort. And maybe that's where you are right now. You've been hustling. You've been working hard. You've been putting in the grind, and your nets are still empty. What's the problem? It's not the work ethic. It's wisdom. It's your wisdom. What if God says throw your nets on the other side? The moment you're waiting for, all you need to do is just listen. Listen for some wisdom. Now, I'm not saying don't work hard, but I'm saying listen for direction. Listen for direction. My challenge, I guess, to you this week is before you burn one more ounce of energy, ask yourself, take the wisdom test, right? Is this the right time? Is this the right place? And is this the right way? And here's the kicker. Don't just rely on your own thoughts. Seek out some people who carry wisdom. I love asking other people who've been there, who've done it. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 22 says this, plans fail for a lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. One conversation with the right mentor, one conversation, one piece of wisdom from someone who's already walked the road. I spent a few hours this past week with someone who, just one thing I said, they go, that's what I've been looking for. That's what I needed. Just one piece of advice from the right person at the right time who's already walked the road that you're on can save you years of unnecessary struggle. If you've heard me very many times, you've heard me say there's 3 ways to get wisdom. Mistakes, which is the slowest way, learning from your mistakes. Mentors, a lot quicker, learning from someone else's mistakes. Or money. You can buy wisdom. You can buy books. By the way, if you go to our website, there's a whole lot of books available. We create whole master classes. Why? Because what took me years and years to figure out, I put in a book, and you can learn for $20 in 3 hours. You'd be crazy. That's why I've got thousands of books. There's too much stuff I don't know. I hate not knowing stuff. So hustle gets you in the room. Wisdom gets you promoted. Hustle might make you sweat. Wisdom will make you fruitful. Hustle makes you look busy. Wisdom makes you effective. So you need both, right? You need both. But if you have to choose, I'd choose wisdom. Work smarter. You ever heard that? Work smarter, not harder. So let me just coach you for a minute before we go. Look at your life, okay? Look at your business. Look at your relationships. Look at your finances. Where are you working harder, but you're not seeing greater results? What area? That's a sign that you don't need to work harder, but you need to work smarter. You need more wisdom. So before you grind, ask yourself, am I running on a treadmill or moving toward a destination? Am I reacting or am I strategizing? Am I doing what's urgent or am I doing what's effective? Okay? Wisdom is the principal thing. Stop. Here's the benefit if you're a believer like I am. I stop. I seek God. I lean into his word. I surround myself with wise voices. I align my hustle with my wisdom because hustle will just make you tired. We want wisdom to make you fruitful. So remember this, wisdom wins every time. Be a winner. Here's some wisdom for winning. That's what we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks right here. The wisdom factor right here on the Dave Martin podcast. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. So when the next episode comes out, you're ready. You're ready to join us, walk through this, because next time I'm talking about decisions. You ever made a bad one? Boy, one bad decision can mess up a whole lot of stuff. But think if you made a right decision, how it could change everything. We'll talk about that next week. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, share this with somebody else. Let them know about the podcast and what we're talking about over the next few weeks, the wisdom factor. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time.